In this video, I play Terraria, but each NPC sells random items, meaning I could get anything from a wooden sword to Zenith, the best melee weapon in the game. The amount of items and prices will vary, and to make things a bit harder, I'm only allowed to visit each NPC once a day. Hope you'll enjoy. Alright, to get started, I began chopping a ton of trees for some wood because I'm gonna have to build some houses to get some NPCs to spawn. The more houses, the better. After collecting about 400 pieces of wood, I began the building process. I built about 8 houses to begin with. Afterwards, I went down a nearby cave and found my first life crystal as well as 3 pieces of gold. Now the merchant is able to spawn since I have more than 50 silver. A bit after, the merchant arrived, but with no recall potions to get back home, I decided to keep exploring the cave. I was able to find a few more life crystals as well as the magic mirror. Now I can teleport back home whenever I wanted to. After finding Hermes boots, I went back home and talked to the merchant to see what he was selling. Unfortunately, he wasn't selling anything useful this time. I talked to the demolitionist and he was selling some really good items like some wings, the dark lance, and the scourge of the corruptor, but the prices were well above my budget, so this night was not the night for goodies. I thought of a great idea to pass the time, and that is to build a bed. Sleeping will significantly speed up the time so I can visit NPCs much more frequently. A couple days of sleeping later, I was able to find an adamantite sword that was selling for under 1 gold, so I decided to purchase it. It wasn't on my list of weapons that I wanted, but for the price that cheap, it will do for now. I drank a gravitation potion and went up to a sky island to find the fledgling wings. Although it doesn't have a good amount of wing time, the fall damage negation is all that mattered. I also took the furniture inside to sell later on because we are gonna need a lot of gold. Now for my first boss, I chose to fight the Brain of Cthulhu. I thought with my adamantite sword I'd be able to one-shot the flying balls, but apparently not. I died. However, I did manage to get enough materials to make the Deathbringer pickaxe, and the full crimson armor set. The next day, I found the Staff of the Frost Hydra selling for only 5 gold. I bought it without a second thought. This was a really strong summoner weapon that shoots ice balls, so this made up for the lack of ranged weapons that I had. I also bought the Crystal Assassin's Pants and the Forbidden Robes. When it turned to night, I went over to the dungeon and built an arena to fight Skeletron. I pretty much had to let the Hydra do all of the work, since getting close to the boss was out of the question. It took a while, but Skeletron was defeated in the end. Exploring the dungeon, I was able to find the mechanic, which was great, because now I have another NPC to buy from. I kept exploring until I found the Cobalt Shield. A little while after, the traveling merchant arrived, so I went back home and talked to him to see what he was selling. There was the Rod of Discord for 8 gold, and the Terrorblade for 5. I sold a bunch of stuff in my inventory to have enough to buy both of them. I also purchased the axe from the mechanic. So I'm pretty much set now. I've got some good weapons and accessories to be able to take down the Wall of Flesh fairly easily, so I started mining down towards hell. After making it all the way down, I broke some pots to get more gold. After collecting some, I made some more houses back up on the surface since all my other houses were full. The clothier arrived soon after, so I went to see what he was selling. There was the Celestial Starboard that was selling for 38 gold. Buying this would use up all of my money, but this item is the best wing in the game, so I decided to purchase it. At night, I spawned the Eye of Cthulhu just for some extra gold. There wasn't much use for the Shield of Cthulhu since I'm able to move extremely fast due to the wings that I had, but I replaced one of my accessories with it since it did give me more defense. When morning arrived, I visited the NPCs again, and when I got to the Dryad, she was selling the SDMG for 7 gold. I couldn't believe what I saw. I sold some gems that I mined earlier to get enough to purchase it. If there was an NPC selling an endless musket pouch, I would be set. Now, I was thinking about fighting the Wall of Flesh, but looking at my health, I only had 180. I could definitely beat the boss, but I chose to go down into the jungle to max out my health for the long run. Plus, the jungle has many chests that contain a ton of gold and items that I could sell for more money. Using the Rod of Discord to move to places without mining was a time saver. I even found a jungle temple with it. I was going to use the rod to teleport inside the temple to loot the many chests that were inside of it, but apparently you can't. I'm not even sure if this was possible to begin with, but yeah, my hopes of getting extremely rich was crushed. I found a beehive. Usually I would skip this boss, but this mod is all about having a ton of money to purchase things. The more the better, since the prices are completely random. If there was a zenith that was selling for 5 platinum coins, then I need to be sure I'm ready to buy it. By the way, I should have said this earlier in the video, but once I closed the shop of the NPC, then those items would be gone. So if I managed to see a zenith in one of those shops and not have enough money, I would feel miserable. After defeating the queen bee, I finished finding the rest of the life crystals to get myself to max health. I also collected extra life crystals to sell later on for 1 gold each. I got back home and sold a bunch of stuff to accumulate 42 pieces of gold. Now this amount was pretty decent. I could afford many things, but that all changed when I visited the Dryad. You see that one piece of gold? It didn't have a price on it. I thought I was able to buy a bunch of them free of charge, but soon after I bought just one, I saw that it took 17 gold away from me. I tried selling it back, but it didn't work, so I had to place it on the ground and pick it back up to get only 1 gold. So yeah, I got scammed. Luckily, it didn't take all of my money away, so I had barely enough to purchase the Shroomite Digging Claw, which would speed up mining and chopping trees a lot faster. Now I got a bit bummed out because I found the last prism that the zoologist was selling, but it was for 1 platinum coin. I probably could have sold some things in my chest to get enough if I had my 42 gold, but sometimes things don't go your way. Alright, so I'm back in hell. I've got good weapons and now max health, so I'm well prepared to fight the wall of flesh. But there's one thing that I'm missing, and that is a voodoo doll. I waited and waited and waited, but there was no demon carrying one to be found. I kept hearing demon noises, and when I went over to them, they were only regular demons. This happened to me so many times. My hopes went up, just to be brought back down again. I waited for over 40 minutes just to be able to find one. And when I did find one, you guys couldn't believe how I felt. I was so relieved. I made my way to the edge of the world, although it wasn't really necessary. It's sort of become a habit for me now. But anyways, when I did arrive, I tossed the voodoo doll into the lava to summon the boss. I used the Terra Blade at first to get rid of some of the hungries, and then switched to the SDMG to finish it off. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and also subscribe. There will be a part 2, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you all next time. Peace.